Yeah, I'm Harvey Smith, the studio director and creative director of Arcane Studios Austin.
Can you take us back to the early days when this first idea came about?
Yeah, so back in 2010, Raph and I started working with Bethesda and creating Dishonored 1, basically, Rafael Colantonio. And it really was a collaboration between the Austin and Lyon studios, very much a split development where each side did huge pieces, and it was a really interesting experience. But we started creating what we thought was a game set in London in 1666, and over time we kept moving it forward in time toward maybe the mid-1800s, and we kept drifting further afield from the Earth setting into something new, the Empire of the Isles, this sort of steampunk world where you play a supernatural assassin after going after corrupt targets. And that's pretty much how it was born.
When it comes to even those early days, can you talk a little about maybe the Bible and storyline and what that opened up for something like Dishonored: Death of the Outsider?
Yeah, what we see here is like really an 8-year arc that started with the political assassination of Jessamine Kaldwin. Corvo, her lover, is standing there, and her bodyguard. Emily, her daughter, is standing there. Jessamine is killed. The Empire topples, basically, for a while because of the plague. And the man who does it is named Dowd, a legendary mercenary assassin. And with him that day is his crew, his gang called the Whalers, and his right hand, Billy Lurk. And so you then see that from Dowd's perspective, after Corvo's story in Dishonored 1, you see that from Dowd's perspective in the Knife of Dunwall, where you start that DLC by launching the assassination mission, talking to Billy, you play Dowd. And then for the Brigmore Witches, you see, Billy has been seduced by Delilah, betrayed Dowd, Dowd spared her, Dowd goes after Delilah. And then 15 years later, Emily's grown up, she's the Empress, Delilah's back, takes the throne, Emily's on the run. She lives on a boat with Megan Foster, who, big spoiler, cover your ears, is Billy Lurk under an assumed name. And so when Emily finally goes home to take over the Empire again, Billy's looking for meaning. She's looking to take back her agency. She's been adrift for a while. And so she takes back her old name, Billy Lurk. She goes after her mentor. She's like, I'm going to find Dowd. And together they strike out on this grandiose task of ending the Outsider because they feel like him existing and offering people these incredible powers has allowed people to damage the world in a terrible way, and including what they did with killing Jessamine. And so Billy's looking for redemption and closure. Dowd's in the final days of his life. He's kind of a mentor still, mission giver figure. But Billy is the protagonist. And it just really feels like one big arc from the first moments of Dishonored 1 all the way to the end of Death of the Outsider.
When it comes to Death of the Outsider, can you talk about from a story or maybe even a business perspective, this is a standalone, more than a DLC, but maybe less than a typical full-on Dishonored game?
Yeah, Death of the Outsider is a standalone expansion. It takes about 8 or 9 hours for most players to finish it. You don't have to have any of the previous games or know anything about them. We think theoretically some people will play this for the first time. It'll be their first Dishonored game, which is a really interesting thought. Other people, of course, will be super fluent with the definitive edition of Dishonored 1, Knife of Dunwall, Brigmore Witches, which we updated and re-released on Xbox One and PS4. And then we released Dishonored 2 on Xbox One and PS4. So you have the whole suite of all of those games, with this being the cap. And some people will have spent hundreds of hours, the fans we know, the cosplayers, the art people, the people that do music for Dishonored, we love them. And they're constantly asking us lore questions and things like that. And they've responded really well to things like Billy as a protagonist or Emily as a protagonist, the new powers, the new mechanics, the changes that we've made. And so, yeah, pricing it at $29.99, it clocks in about 8 or 9 hours for most people. It's a standalone expansion. It's a different approach for us. We're experimenting with this. We think it's interesting.